Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
You're listening to TFG Interviews.
Hello guys, welcome to the special edition of TFG Sports Podcast. It's special because we have interviews over here. So, in case if you guys have missed out, there are a lot of interviews related to different sports personalities from different sporting disciplines. Today we have a niche sports, mixed martial arts, which is growing up in a rapid pace in India. We have founder and CEO of Super Fight League, Bill Dosanjh, who is talking about, getting involved in Super Fight League and making it a different package altogether and then providing it to the Indian consumers. There are a lot of fans of Super Fight Leagues and definitely there are a lot of fighters. Let's hear it to him. He is in conversation with our MMA correspondent, TFG's MMA correspondent, Ratish Menon. And so, listen to him.
Thanks so much for taking the time out. I understand that you've been pressed for time a bit.
Yeah, we just literally have had such an amazing success start to the league and could become a wanted man.
Huge ups for that and big congratulations, yeah?
Yeah, so
yes.
No, it's good. Obviously you follow the sport of MMA and we really kind of made a huge impact in the MMA community, because what we're doing is something which is never done before. We're actually creating history with this teams and points. It's very unique, and as you know, no MMA organization in the world has done back-to-back events on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, week in, week out. There's so many different elements of what we're doing where we're creating history. So it's a really amazing moment.
Absolutely, Bill, and precisely why it's such an honor and great to talk to you now. So I'm not going to keep you around for long. I'm getting right into the questions. Yeah, can we?
Yeah.
Great, Bill. Bill, just as you mentioned, it was a recent resurgence. The Super Fight League has been around for a number of years, but it was just late last year that the brand was repositioned as a combat sports league. Along with being the first of its kind, what were some of the thoughts that went behind this move as such?
I think for any sport to grow, you need to have the core fundamentals for the sport to grow. And I'm just going to take you back a little bit, how kind of the vision, how it all started and how we came about and making this a success. So it was back in 2010 when I launched Amir Khan's career in the US, where we saw that boxing and MMA was kind of demanding the same viewership.
Yep.
And we saw that, what is the core? Why is it growing fast in boxing while boxing has been around for centuries? And when we really looked into the core of it, we saw that every high school in America offers wrestling. So it's kind of built into the USA ecosystem where a boxer has to step outside of a school and find a boxing gym.
Yep.
And here, wrestling is offered on campus. So I said, this could work really well in India, because India's grassroots level sport before cricket is actually kushti. Every village has a akhada in it, so it has got the core fundamentals for the sport to grow. So we launched it. In a short period, we became the second most watched sport online in India today. Since 2012 today, in terms of YouTube numbers, we're the second most watched sport. And a lot to do with it is because 60% of the population in India is under the age of 25.
Yep.
And this product really connects with the youth. So, and then you've got to look at, okay, what zone do we fall into today? We have 11 sports leagues in the last 9 years, and Super Fight League sits in that bracket of WWE, Pro Kabaddi, and the new WWE Wrestling League. I think we have a much greater, more action experience for the youth to connect with MMA than any other. And then you've got to look at the biggest movie of the year, was based on exactly what I've been saying to people, the core fundamentals of the sport, which is wrestling, and then the modern era of the sport, where it ends up in the cage. Then for any company obviously one of the biggest companies in MMA today got sold for $4 billion, and then that was on roughly the same week, if you notice, when Sultan was actually announced. Sultan came out on 5th, and then the big MMA company announced an acquisition of $4 billion a week later. And then, for any company, any entrepreneur, you want to be number one at what you do. And I sat back, even before this announcement, I said, you know what, how can I do something different to become number one? And then from there, obviously, that's where then teams with a unique point scoring system came out. Now, look, if you can build a loyal fan following in any other sport like cricket, soccer, why can't you build a loyal fan following in my fighting team sport? This is my Delhi Heroes or Mumbai Maniacs. Then it was like, okay, want to build this into a major sports league. How do I position it? With every league has got points scoring, baseball's got points scoring, basketball's got points scoring. How do I adapt a point scoring system into this sport? So then obviously, because baseball's points, basketball's point scoring, soccer's, cricket, everything's point scoring. So that's when it became a very unique point scoring system where we said, all right, there's going to be 6 weight categories. Each weight category will have one backup fighter. For a draw, you'll get a point. If you go to the judges, you get 3 points. 4 points you get for a TKO. 5 points you get for a submission. And 6 points you get for a KO. And even if you look at that point scoring, so much science has gone into it because in our country, we're already used to so many falls. We're used to so many sixes. So when a fan is watching, they can easily adapt to this point scoring system. And so that's a beautiful thing about what we're doing. So again, it's never been done before with teams and points, where you fight as a team and with a point scoring system like any. So the positioning of the brand is very clear. We're the first ever fighting league. Like the NFL, NBA, this is the first ever league where you fight as a team.
Absolutely.
So that was the uniqueness in it. And then it was, okay, your fans are your biggest value. How do you connect with your fans? So that's when you come up with this very unique thing where you connect a gym with a team. So Indian fitness industry is at 7,000 crores, growing at 30% a year. And we said, you know what? We need to deliver a revenue model all year round to our franchisees, and we need to have a development program where we nurture new talent. How does a fan also connect? Look, TV broadcasters, they spend a lot of energy, money in building a sports property, but we as league owners or franchise don't really monetize to the highest effect. So here now, going back to what I said earlier, your fan is the biggest value. How do you give him that connect? So here, what we said is each team will own the gym. Gym will be the home base of that team, where you as a fan can actually walk into any major city of a team where you're watching, for example, Sher Punjab team fight, and Sher Punjab has a gym in Chandigarh, one in Amidst, Ludhiana, and Jalandhar, so on. So each franchise is committed to 5 gyms per and over the next 5 years, where you become a fan of it to walk into a gym and use the facilities. I mean, you as a fan, I'm sure you're a fan of major other sports, like whether it be football, Man United, whether it's basketball, LA Lakers, or Mumbai Indians in cricket.
Yep.
Imagine you as a fan, once you walk into a stadium and come back home, what interaction have you got as a fan the next day? When you walk back into a stadium, it's closed.
Yep.
You try to use the facilities the next day, you cannot. You want to watch your stars train, you cannot. You want private coaching, you cannot. So here, the ecosystem is going to be built. So all the fighters that you see that are fighting in Super Fight League, there will be the coaches in the gym, and there'll be videos playing of these guys, of their fights. And as a fan, I could walk in there, connect with them, train with them, So this is a very unique thing, So we've got 100 forecasts of gyms in the next 5 years. There's a lot of fighters who own their gyms, like Irfan does, where he trains with Deep Hoda, and he trains Zareem Khan, and he converting his gym into an SFL gym.
Yep.
Super Fight League already has 3 gyms in Delhi, and even Babajit, who owns a gym in Shillong in North East, SFL already has a gym in Guwahati. So these will be all alongside our 100 forecasts of our gyms over the next 5 years. So, which is a great program. At the same time, our franchisees are happy because they're getting revenue every day. From memberships, people coming in, joining, and so on. I mean, at the Jewelry Garden Gym in Delhi, we have over 1,200 members in space of 1 year. And which is phenomenal. And the good thing is, look, in a gym, what goes into an MMA gym? Mats, bags. Yep. You don't need any weights. Your body is your weight. Functional stuff. So that's the gym element of it. And the other big revenue driver, what we're saying in the third year, is the digital revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you some numbers, we done a Facebook Live the other day from the opening when Haryana Sultans played Delhi Arjun Rampal. I mean, between them, they've got over 7 million followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Over 200,000 views live. That's not including like what's happening on TV or on Sony Live. That's just through the Facebook. And
incredible.
And that just shows you where this is going. And we have got over 100 million social media co-owners into Super Fight League, from Tiger Shroff, from Jacqueline, from Ajay Devgan, from Randeep Hooda, from Arjun Rampal, Salim Suleiman. They've got another big announcement coming for Gujarat and Punjab team. So what I'm saying is, in the third season.
Yep.
Now look, I'm a non-resident. I'm an NRI. And there's 15 million of us that live outside of India, and we're very proud in where we're from. I'm saying in the third season, a Punjabi that's in Canada, America, France, Germany will pay $5 to watch his Punjab team fight. Imagine 100,000 people, there's 50 million paying $5 to watch his Punjab team fight. That's almost $500,000 in income coming in from different parts of the world, because it's an international product. It is only relevant in Commonwealth countries. This sport is global. And wherever you're sitting right now, you could be seeing people playing cricket outside, people playing football outside. But if there's a quick fight that breaks out, you'll see within seconds 100 people get together to watch a good fight.
Yeah.
So it's in our human nature to love to see two people competing in a ring. So that's quickly in a nutshell, basically the vision. And our whole thing is basically to host the first World Cup of MMA. Super Fight League from now is going to the US, going to the UK, and for the next year we've got plans for Brazil, Philippines, and really capture China as well. And what's going to succeed in China is a localized product. The way we localize it in India, where you saw Randeep Hooda give a local Haryanavi video. Go on Randeep Hooda's Facebook and see that video. You'll see, Ajay Devgan, local guy from Mumbai. You'll see Arjun Rampal grew up in Delhi, a Delhi guy, fitness fanatic. These are the localized, and Jacqueline, just loves fitness, loves this whole women empowerment, and that's a big thing now. Through our gym program, we're going to be offering self-defense to all these women. They can come in and take free classes. There's this whole ecosystem that's been built, and look at the brands that have kind of come on board from Dabur Group, from Mumbai, Hero Cycles, from V-John, from Intex. These guys have really believed in the vision. All these young entrepreneurs have studied abroad, and they understand the powerfulness of this sport, how big this is and how big this can be. Already today we are the second most watched sport online today already, and that's only going to grow because the way the digital space is going to move in the next 5-6 years is going to be phenomenal. We've seen the crazy change in social media in the last 6-7 years, and data has become so cheap to consume, and this space is going to grow. So we're proud. We were born digital, and we're going to stay digital, and we're just going to keep just growing numbers and making the sport grow.
Awesome, Bill. That was a big, long, multi-fold, multi-layered answer. Yeah, you pretty much ate up a few questions of mine. But it was just I was pressed for time, so I wanted to kind of just sum everything up, so you kind of got everything in
That's fine. I totally appreciate it. I appreciate the passion as well. Yeah, but you touched on a couple of things actually, which I kind of, if you wouldn't mind elaborating on. Just the point scoring system you said about, because it's very unique, the 5-point scoring system, and I know the season
is underway, but would you care to explain the philosophy behind coming up with such a unique system? Because, you know, in combat sports, we're just so used to having the boxing points, 10-point scoring system has been around for ages. And so what went into thinking what went into the philosophy behind coming up with such a system, and what actually constitutes the 5-point scoring system for the uninitiated among us?
You know, the thing with the point scoring system is, look, normally in the fight sports, it's always win, draw, or loss, and then obviously, like you said, it's the outcome of each round. So we wanted to make it more interesting. And the other big problem that you have in the fight game is everyone is looking forward to the main event. No one cares about the undercard fights, if you can event, until the when there's evening starts of the eight bouts that are going to take place.
Yeah,
it's empty. You know, people are only looking forward for the big Conor McGregor or you know. And here, the first fight is just as important as the last fight. Mm-hmm. The woman's win, her points are just as important as a man's win. So the point scoring system is that, you know, you have to be involved into this from the very first moment go. Just the way you tune into a soccer game or you tune into a cricket game or any other sports league, you've got to tune into this from the very first moment, not just wait for the main event, you know, because them points at early are just as important as the points at the end.
Yeah.
And then it's about changing the sport in actually really, you know, commercializing it, where it's just not about the promoter. If you look at it, there's only a handful of like dozen companies that are really pushing the sport of MMA across Asia and across the globe. What Super Fight League has done is created this ecosystem around it, you know, for it to kind of really give it that positioning of a sports league, you know. But when you give it the position of a sports league, you need to have the sports league elements to it. And the point scoring system is very important, you know. And that's where, again, after establishing the points, what type of points we chose and how you score it, and you've seen it at full effect. I mean, every event of the opening night on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or when it was on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, was just mind-blowing. Everything went to the wire. You know, you see a mix of, you know, I mean, you saw the mix of going to the judges, you saw a mix of TKOs, you saw a mix of submissions, and you saw some great sixes. You know, and that's what went into this, of a positioning of a brand of a major sports league. And the art is to basically, we're going to be established in 8 countries and we want to host the first World Cup. I mean, imagine Brazil versus USA in the cage with this unique point scoring system, with all like a great bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, women's weight, and then heavyweight. You know, it'd be fireworks.
It'd be fireworks, and I totally agree with you. I mean, this 5 points, the scoring system that you have, kind of also pushes the fighters to go for a finish and not exactly reward them just to get a decision, which is great. Which just makes the sport more exciting, in my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, sport is already exciting as it is, as MMA as a sport. What I've done is I've just put the cherry on the cake. You know? And if you look at it, what I've done, just imagine 2020 cricket was around for so many years. Mm-hmm. I've just made that little tweak what IPL made, and it became the 5th biggest league in the world today. You know, and this is what I've done. I've made that little change, you know, where make it more passionate as a team, and the positioning of a major league with points. And then first fight is just as important as a man's fight. And don't forget, another big element to this is, don't forget, in all other sports leagues, whether it be football, whether it's basketball, every league is separate for women. You know, here we're giving a woman an equal platform for her points just to be as important as a man's points.
Absolutely.
And you've seen that, you know, which is a big element to this whole creation. So look, we have created history in so many different ways, in whether it's teams, it's points, whether it's women, and here we've just given it that extra bit to make MMA the biggest sport in the world, where you build that ecosystem. You know, we just opened up a complete new chapter in MMA, and Super Fight League has done that.
Absolutely. You also touched on the popular Bollywood names such as Arjun Rampal and the Randeep Hudas and the Ajay Devgans associated with it, and also the corporate biggies from the Hero Cycles and the Dabur and so on and so forth. So now they've been a part of the initiative this year. How hard was it to kind of get them on board, considering that the sport is still kind of in the niche space within India?
If you look at all the guys that have involved, they're all either action heroes, or they love martial arts, or they're fit. And if you look at all the team owners, the names of Aditya Manjal, or the Kochers, or Ahmed Berman, these are all guys that have lived abroad, studied abroad. They understand the power. This is a new era, and a new revolution of the new generation that understand the power of MMA. Yep. If you try to explain it to their dads, it'd be much more difficult. But the youth get it. A lot of these guys have studied abroad and they get the power of this sport. And that is what you're seeing, a evolution in India today. We've had the most amazing start to any league that you can possibly think of. Over the years, you've seen it. It's been edge of the seat action going into every fight. And you've seen the quality of production, you've seen the quality of the fights. Yep. So I think we're in a great zone. And it's only going to grow from this point. It's only going to grow.
Absolutely. Now, Bill, with SFL having teams from all across the nation and, just getting people invested with the names and just the kind of the fanfare behind it, are there plans? I'm pretty sure it's too early to be kind of revealing them, but are there plans to kind of move on to different venues across the country? You mentioned about being across the world, but within India itself, hosting events across.
Yeah, of course. I think one thing we've understood from TV as well, from the broadcast, you've got to take the advice at times as well, because obviously they've been in the game a long time, and this is a very northern kind of sport, where it's got such a huge following. So if you look at the way we're penetrating it, I want to penetrate where it's already got an organic following. Yeah. And this has got an organic following in the north and northeast, So Delhi NCR is 47 million people alone. Let's capture them. Let's own that space. Let's own that domain, and then trending it up. We're doing as much as we can in the south, like with Tiger pushing, down the south, being a martial artist and so on. So we're doing what we can, but I want to take it step by step. I do want to go all guns blazing, going to every different part and travel, and just, I wanted to have that certain quality control of make sure we deliver a good TV product, good digital product for the first year, and then basically, then start taking it. Eventually, want to do a home and away model, where the matches, where from 16 they'll go to 28. Where each team in two groups, so like IPL, there's 28 matches where they play home and away. And just one more thing about this point scoring system. Like, even though you see the points at the way they win at the end of the fight, at the end of it, they get 3 points for a win, like you do in soccer. I've tried to make this point scoring system as universal, as much localized as I can, from the 4s and the 6s. And even if, for example, you see a 15-12 win to one team, that will be plus 3 points of a point difference for the winning team. And like soccer, you'll get 3 points. So, for example, if a team wins 4-1 in soccer, it's 4 goals scored, 1 goal against. Right, so there'd be a point difference in so it'd be plus 3, and then ultimately be 3 points for a win.
Fabulous, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so if you look at the league standing, the league tables, it's very much universal. So I've kept trying to capture as much as I can universally and localize it. So look, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money spent into creating a perfect product. And we've got this down to the T. And I'm sure you're watching the shows, and you can see it's a very clean, clear delivery of every.
It's easy, simple, and fun to watch. If I had to.
Yeah.
Nothing can parallel it.
Great.
Bill, the season is set to finish up next month in February. Any heads up as to when the next edition we can expect the next edition coming out?
No, we're just going to obviously sit back and analyze everything and see and if the broadcasters are really happy, we're happy to even come back with a season 2 very early, as early as November, you know. But you surely will see us back in January next year for sure.
Absolutely. Just a couple more questions, and I'm going to let you go. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, sure. Now, Bill, the format and the matchmaking, while unique, has got a lot of supporters from the fans, but it's also got a little bit of criticism from certain quarters, highlighting the fact that fighters have very little or no time between fights to recover from the damage caused by the grueling nature of the sport. What, if any, would be your response to them?
Yeah, I think this year we've got obviously we do have obviously each weight category has a backup fighter in place. So if one is injured, you know, the other one is there. He can recover. So that's what we've counted. So, you know, it's a real team sport. You know, it's like a squad of 12. You know, like you do in soccer. There's a squad of 11, then obviously there's 11 players, and here you've got the fighting 6, and you've got one in every weight category. But I mean, that's what makes it. Look at when UFC first started. I mean, if you look at when it started, they used to fight 4 times in a day. You know, in the early days.
Yep.
You know, here you still got enough time. But I mean, it's a tournament. You know, it's a tournament.
Yeah, that's how tournaments work. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how Pride works. That's how Glory in other sport works. And
yeah, exactly. So I don't think that is the thing here. So I think people got to appreciate in the entertainment and what these fighters are putting themselves out to, and you know, it's going to be rewarding for them. You know, the more fighter gets out, the more he performs. You know, in every sports league across the world, you always see, you know, a few players that really always shine, and it's going to be the same here. You're going to see, like, for example, the Punjab captain Kantraj. I mean, he's had 2 stoppages in the first round. You know,
amazing, yeah.
And you see the other girl in Punjab, Asha Roka.
Asha Roka, the 9 second, my God.
Yeah, 9 second, and then she done a first round finish.
The second fight, yesterday,
yeah. So you know, this is what people, you're going to have that in every team. A couple of people shining, so which is great.
Great. Now, you also touched upon, you know, how the sport as such is growing in this country. So it's been gradually growing in terms of popularity and the talent pool participating in it. What is the SFL's thoughts on furthering the cause of MMA in India and nurturing the talent in the country for the sport as such?
I think I answered that earlier. I think the most important thing is obviously the gym business. It's not to be underestimated. You know, the gyms are there for the fans to connect and to nurture new local talent. You know, this is all part of the commitment of these franchisees who are going to open these gyms. You know, we're talking to 5 years from today, you will see 100 SFL minimum gyms across India, you know, and that's what it is, you know. So there's a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of thought gone into this and how we're going to build this baby to make it the biggest league in the world in the sport of MMA.
Amen to that. And the mantra theme, the never stop fighting, if you want to just kind of, you know, shed some light as to what does it really speak?
I think it just says it all, doesn't it? I think that's
it does.
Words. I think you know, we all go through it in our life. You know, it's a very general term of life. You know, you just never give up. You know, you just never give up. You just keep going, no matter where position of life that you're in. You know, you just never stop fighting. You know, and again, you can see them 3 words, they're basic, but it's got such a powerful meaning, and it means so much to every one of us, you know, and that's what we want to do. We want people to look at that and say, you know what, this is just not about just getting into the ring and never stop, but it's about fight in day to day. We keep going, you know, that positivity of never stop fighting, it should always stay within all of us. So I think it's great that you guys are picking up on this, because that's what I want. You know, I think it's really important.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for all the time you've given us. Any parting words, just in closing, to the Fan Garage readers as to what we can expect from SFL in this season and in the coming seasons, and from US?
You're going to expect a reality show. You can expect a big reality show coming.
Fantastic.
You can see the previous. It's going to be under SFL Challenges. And we might have something very special for you guys.
This year?
And just before, something very, very special. someone,
fantastic,
a household name. So we'll share that with you in the next coming weeks.
Any hints?
Yeah. You're going to love it. You're going to just absolutely love it. You're going to say it was a cherry on the cake on everything what SFO's done throughout the season. So it's something really amazing.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for the time, and good luck with everything.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself. Well, MMA, what can I tell you? Indian MMA is growing at a rapid pace. You can read all our articles on thefangarage.com related to Indian MMA. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at TFG_MMA on Twitter and TFG MMA on Facebook. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcasts, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcasts galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.